Hey, welcome to this episode of the Akashic Show. Thank you so much for pressing play. Thank you so much for tuning in to us every single Friday at what time? I'm like at some time.
It's 9 a.m. my time, 9 a.m. Pacific.
9,
What time
9
is
a.m.
it?
Pacific time. That's 12 p.m. Eastern Standard Time. And if you're not in those two time zones, you can figure out what time zone it is for you. I know, such a nice show host. So, anyway, thank you guys so much for pressing play. We're going to be talking about the dangers of information, and lots of be like, "Ooh, the dangers of information, scary." But really, there is a danger to information, and we're going to be talking about what those dangers are and how to protect yourself in this age of information, right? Because right now there is so much information that's available to you. Never before in our written history has so much information been available to us, literally at our fingertips. We can walk around with these devices called cell phones, and we can access so much information at will. And we're going to be talking about, how that information is consumed. What are some of the benefits of it, but what are also some of the dangers, so that you can protect yourself from those dangers and really make sure that you're using that information in a way that's going to benefit you. So it's going to be an awesome discussion, as it always is. If you are brand new to the Akashic Show and this is the first time that you are ever pressing play with us, thank you so much. Hopefully you're not just pressing play with us, but you're also tuning in every single day here on the Akashic Academy Facebook page, the Akashic Network, and tuning into our daily shows. Every single day, we've got different shows that are that are designed to bring spiritual experiences and upliftment to you. So I hope you're. I'm kind of tongue-tied today. So I've got a little bit of this going on, which is kind of cool. So, anyways, look, if it's the first time that you're ever pressing play, though, you may be wondering, who exactly are we? Well, first of all, my name is Coach Nick, and that's all I'm going to say about myself. Emily is the person that I'll draw your attention to. She is the founder and director here at the Akashic Academy. She is empowering and certifying light workers all around the world to read their Akashic records. She holds, I'm going to laugh when I say this, she holds a tremendous space for us to, and Emily knows why I'm laughing at that, a little bit of a joke. We were kind of laughing just before we got live. She holds a tremendous space for all of us to show up, to explore spirituality, to explore some of that intuitive abilities, some of those abilities that we know that we have, but we don't really get a chance to exercise. And she is the visionary person behind our modern mystery school. Thank you, Emily, for tuning in every week, Friday, for holding space for us to have such transformation.
Tuning in with my job every Friday. Well, truthfully, it's to be able to create a job that allows me to stand in so much of my own passion and curiosity, because I've always been really interested in what does it mean to be psychic? What does it mean to be intuitive? What does it mean to be able to heal ourselves? These are things that I explored as a kid in my own mind, but didn't necessarily have like in my access or in my reach or in my awareness knowledge about that. And as I've moved through my own process and my own journey of really bringing in lots of different kinds of knowledge, kinds of religion. Good morning, DC. I started out super Southern Baptist. When I moved to California, I really opened up to a lot of different like New Age, ancient knowledge. When we call it New Age, but it's really based in a lot of ancient knowledge. And as I began to open and expand and go on my own awakening process, my life is just completely transformed. It is so fun to not only empower other people, but to bring this into like normal life. My kids, they know what to do with their intuition. They know when their telepathy is working. They know when something is coming up in their body and they need to heal themselves. So it's such a privilege and an honor to be a part of this transition of the planet, this age of enlightenment, this consuming of information that's allowing us to expand. If we're doing it the right way, it can be dangerous if we're not taking it in the right way. But being able to share this in the way that I'm sharing it, transforming the planet, is because of you, my friend. You have given me the structure, the formulas, the techniques on the aspect of showing up and creating a job that was not intuitive to me. So for that, I am forever grateful. I am so happy to have found you in this life as my friend, as my partner, building this movement that is the Akashic Academy, where we're creating space for others to experience the level of empowerment and freedom and standing in your passion that both you and I have been able to create is so freaking fun. And it's a pleasure to do it with friends like you, and it's a pleasure to keep meeting more friends. So if you guys are new for the first time, say hello, tell us where you're from, and we're about to indoctrinate you on one of our favorite little parts of our show here today, which is our puppet show. You ready to rock our puppet show?
Love it, totally. Hold on, let me get the first comment here lined up, and then I'll give you your drum roll. And just while I'm doing that, for those of you who are watching us live or watching the recording, make sure you hit that like and love button. Make sure you share this video out. You know, information is widely available to everybody, but not everybody's consuming that in a way that's actually enhancing their life. So we want to get this information out to as many souls as possible when we need your help to do it. So please share this out so that we can reach as many people as we can with today's message. All right, let me hit you up with the drum roll. Bam!
This is Carrie Rindom. Carrie is an Akashic Academy member, one of our new members. We're so happy that you're here. And the comment that I just really loved, she said, I love where I work. I have no formal training for this business, but I think I'm where I'm supposed to be. And I love that because it shows a level of awareness of your subtle energy where you can explore something where you feel like you might not be trained. You might not, you're in a new space. You're learning and you're growing and you're expanding. That right there says growth mindset to me. And loving where you are and being willing to be out of your comfort zone, but that knowing that subtle underlying feeling of being in the right place, man, that is allowing your intuition to unfold. And I love that this comment just encompassed all of that for me. So I love that we've got people like that, like Carrie showing up with us, hanging out in the Academy, because truthfully, it's a synergistic space. How every single one of us and you guys and Nick and I show up with open minds, with open hearts, with willingness to grow is what's creating the power here inside of this movement. And that comment just embodied all of it for me. So that was my pick for the week.
Awesome, fantastic. You want to hook me up with a drum roll?
I do.
Bam! Awesome. Today we've got Christy Sanders. And Christy Sanders just had a really, really nice, simple comment that said, be present deeply while doing those dishes. And, you know, we use that example a bunch here in the Akashic Academy about anything can be used as a spiritual practice, because ultimately it's about cultivating your consciousness. And whatever you're doing, you are, whether you're aware of it or not, you're bringing a certain consciousness to every moment. So even right now, you are bringing a certain consciousness to this show. You're with us, you're present, or maybe you're not. Maybe you're with us, but you're thinking about something else, or you're worried about the future or dwelling upon the past. And just the practice of those daily dishes that most of us have to do, you know, and be completely present with that is such a beautiful practice that we can all take on to just be a little bit more mindful in our life. So thank you so much, Christy, for that comment. Emily, why don't you hook us up with some Academy news, and then let's jump into this conversation about information.
Let's do. Well, I want to share, I have a really, really special new student who has joined me in learning to read the Akashic Records. And Nick and I was talking about this. I'm like, should I point this out or not? And Nick's like, well, we kind of went back and forth. My student is deaf. And the only reason that I decided to share that is because the knowledge has its own experience, its own language, regardless of what I'm saying, what I'm speaking in terms of showing up and sharing the information that's coming through. And that's why we were laughing, because I said, truthfully, it doesn't matter what I say, because the knowledge, like I'm escorting this knowledge into the presence of the individual, and it has its own life from that point. And so I said, truthfully, it doesn't matter what I say. I'm just holding space. And then Nick started cracking up about this comedian who's making fun of us for not really doing anything but showing up and holding space. But it's such a beautiful experience for me to allow my own teaching to expand and unfold, because I've never worked with somebody who wasn't able to communicate. I mean, I've had language barriers before, but not like this. But you know what? I've learned to communicate telepathically with beings that are coming in to support me and bring knowledge in. So it's a really cool opportunity for me to learn how to communicate beyond words. And it's just such a beautiful, tangible experience of how this work is expanding. It's moving globally. And I'm just so excited. I'm excited to share that with you guys. I'm also excited to share that Coach Nick and I are going to bring the house down with a weekend retreat. This is an online retreat where we are giving you the complete Freedompreneur's blueprint. And this is not only from a business perspective, we talk about tangible. This is not only the tangible information, knowledge, and formulas that you need to stand in your own passion and create your own jobs, but you have the unique opportunity to do all of this under the umbrella, under the energy of your Akashic Records, which puts you in the frequency of the highest aspects of yourself. Your highest potential is so easily accessible in this space. This is a spiritual technology that when we add this to the actual structures of what we're doing to show up in our life, man, guys, things get huge. We're so excited to be bringing you this event. Coach Nick, you're the one who titled the event, and I forgot the title right now, as I'm supposed to say it live on the air, and I don't want to get it wrong. What's the title of our Bring the House Down event?
The Freedompreneurs Club Blueprint, the Crash Course. And we're calling it a crash course because essentially that's what it is. It's 3 days. Generally, we take months, and I've worked with people for years teaching them really how to use this blueprint. But we've decided to condense it and give everybody a crash course to really start your 2019 off in a big way.
In a big way. And it's just so beautiful as well. When this gateway opened up, this 1111 gateway, I didn't really recognize, as you and I are planning all of how we're showing up to support our community and all of what we want to bring to them, the exact timing of how all of this stuff was going to line up. But how amazing that this gateway is open for us, this opportunity for quantum expansion. And I'm not only excited to show up because I know that the community is going to get so much out of this, I'm really proud of it too. There's no other place where you can go and get this combination of training, this yin and yang of the training, where you get the actual form, the physical blueprints along with the energetic blueprints. And when you understand these components and you are able to marry them together, there is nothing that you cannot create. And I'm just excited about that. I'm a creator, so I get all pumped up about that. All right, Coach, let's rock and roll. Let's talk about the dangers of information and how we can bring our awareness so that we can use it in a way that's expanding us.
Yeah, absolutely. I just wanted to quickly let people know, just because you were talking so enthusiastically about the 3-day event, that I left the link in the comments below. Cool. So actually the link is there for anybody who wants to, just click on that link and save that page, check it out. It's there for you guys. So let's talk about the dangers of information. So we live in a world right now where information is readily available for us. And, right now here on, you're spending this time with us either live or watching the recording. And you could be spending this time literally watching anything. And, I really mean anything, because the internet, it's all available for you. You could be watching a movie right now. You could be watching some news channel right now. You could be watching a funny cat video right now, which are, by the way, one of the most things watched on the internet are cat pictures and cat videos. So, right. So there you go. Emily's like, she doesn't tell you this, but right now on her phone, there's a funny cat video playing. She's so addicted to it. I'm just joking. Right. So you could be literally watching anything, but you're watching us, and we appreciate that. And why I'm pointing that out is because that is how available information is. It wasn't that long ago in our society that information was not that readily available, right? You got to think about it. It's only in the last 150 years that technology has allowed us to share information in the way that we're doing it. And in no time in history, in our written history anyways, did we have this ability. So right now we have tremendous amounts of information. The danger to it is how much of it carries wisdom. The difference between information and wisdom is what to do with that information. You see, there could be all kinds of information given to you, but if you don't have the wisdom to be able to do something with that information, then it's just information without application. Our spiritual master at the Hare Krishna movement, Srila Prabhupada, would say real knowledge is experience, meaning you actually have to experience something to know it. You can read about it. You can read about the power of now, and you can read the power of now in Eckhart Tolle's Power of Now book all day long. But unless you actually experience that present moment in a deep way, then it's just information and it's not translated to wisdom. So the idea, the danger of information from my perspective, there's many dangers. A couple of them would be, what information do you choose to consume? Just because it's available for you doesn't mean it's good for you, right? Think of it like a buffet. On the buffet table, you've got the salad section and you've got the deep fried food section, right? Both are available. Both are your option, and you've got free will and choice to eat whatever you like to eat. There is a better option, though, or there is an option that is more beneficial for you long term. And then there's an option that just satisfies you immediately, but later on may not be so satisfying or may cause some damage. Information is like that. All the information's available for you, but what you choose to consume is either going to satisfy you maybe immediately. It gives you a high, it gives you some rush, it makes you feel like you're connected or you're in the loop of what's going on in the world. And then there's other information that at first you may resist consuming because you're like, well, what, you know, I'm not really sure what it's all about, or it doesn't give me that immediate high, but long term it really benefits you. So that's the first thing. And then the second thing is that you don't overconsume information, that you don't allow yourself time to anchor and to integrate or to experience the information. So right now, what we see is what we call like information junkies, which we have so much information available to us, but we have no application of the information. And because of that, we don't get the results of it. So I really point out two things that I want to point out to you is that you're consciously choosing the information that you're consuming, and then you are giving yourself time to apply that information before you decide to move on to the next thing. Don't become a seminar junkie or a course junkie that go from course to course to course and seminar to seminar to seminar and webinar to webinar and webinar and never apply any of it, because then you never experience the knowledge and get the results from it. So those are a couple thoughts and ideas I have. Emily, what are your thoughts on the subject?
I have just almost just like a parallel perspective that I just want to invite you guys to open up in terms of thinking about the dangers of information. And for me, like, I think there's certain information that I don't want to consume because it holds a responsibility with it that requires me to take action on something. And Coach Nick and I were talking about the animal industry before we were coming on here. And my family has not gone completely vegetarian yet. And although I do bring a lot of awareness to the food and things that I buy, there's a certain amount of it that I just am like, I can't, I resist opening up and diving in and looking at what's really going on in certain areas of my life still, because there's a danger that comes with that requires me to have to do something about it. And I recognize there are certain areas where I still sit and like, I'd rather make transformation over here in these other areas of my life. And I'm recognizing, I love that she said deep fried Snickers.
Deep fried Snickers.
Because really, it's probably not as much animal product for me personally that I consume, but damn, if I consume some sugar and some processed flour and some things that are just like making my body sensitive right now, and I feel it, you know? So that's another area where for me, I'm gonna put the animal issue to a side now, and I'll just share with you from a metabolism perspective, I don't really have to worry about eating food that makes me fat. So I can eat ice cream at night before I go to bed, and I don't have that motivation to not do it because it's gonna make me fat in the morning. But my body's getting so sensitive that my because seriously, I mean, let's get really material about it. That's most people's motivation for what they eat is how it's gonna make their body look. Because,
Yeah.
and I remember Sadhguru was talking about a piece of bread one time, and he's like, you eat this piece of bread and within 20 minutes, it becomes part of you. So information is the same way. As soon as you consume it, like it becomes part of you. So there's certain parts of me that resist consuming information because I don't want to have to do anything about that. I also recognize with this Ascension Gateway that's open right now, I'm seeing patterns where things that we haven't really wanted to take a look at and shift are coming to the surface so that we can. This is a time for quantum change. And while we think quantum change, oh, it must be huge, epic on a very big level, it actually is microscopic change. It's microcosmic change. It's change when you decide to shift your thoughts, your behavior, your choices, your responses in a moment. And I've been working a lot on that in terms of my thoughts and my emotions. And I see it graduating now to my behaviors. And now, like, I'm being called to, okay, how does that affect your behavior from this point forward? And so that's really how the idea of dangerous information is coming up for me right now. It's like really allowing me to see, okay, where have I not allowed myself to fully see what's there and is available because I don't want to face that. But I feel like, okay, let's do this. Let's take a look at what's going on here. So I'll just hold that space for all of you. If you're finding that those patterns are surfacing, because that's what happens. Collective patterns. It's going to look specific in your life for whatever your makeup is, whatever your chemistry makeup is going to create a certain set of circumstances that you're experiencing. But the overall patterns are the same.
Yeah. I like how you're talking about that, and you're right. That we, and sometimes we do this individually. We do it as a collective. We tend to ignore things. The other thing too is I think that there is I think it was Linda. I can't remember if it was Linda. I think it was Linda who brought up the word discernment,
Good
right?
word.
And that word, naturally has to come up in this conversation, right? It's about using discernment, and also at when we're consuming information, I think we should look at the source of where that information is coming from too.
Absolutely.
Right? What is the intention behind the information? So the news channels, they're giving information out, but what many of us aren't seeing is what is their intention behind it. Is it to uplift us? Is it to empower us? Is it to make us fearful? Is it to get us to buy something? Right. And, there's always generally an intention. And I think that's fine. I don't think that, we don't have to do anything without intention, because then we wouldn't do anything. There's an action oriented conversation there. But I think that when we let our intentions known, so for instance, I teach many coaches and healers how to generate sales. One of the first things I tell people is give yourself permission to sell, meaning don't try to do it in a sneaky way. Myself and Emily want you guys to sign up to the Akashic Academy. We want you guys to come out to our programs. We want you to come out to our training. It is your free will and choice of whether you do or not. And when you respect that, then you could do things openly. So I think that also when we're consuming information, we should really look at the source of that information and look at what is the intention behind that information. And if the intention is hidden, but this is, again, where you can use your discernment and be like, you know what, I think that there's something going on here that really doesn't jive. And normally, if you're in tune enough with your own energy, you can normally pick that up. Then ultimately you'll have greater discernment for that information. The other thing that comes up for me is diving deep with information. Not just staying on the surface, but really experiencing it. And there are many spiritual seekers right now who are surface seekers, right? They're watching, they're learning, and that's good. We all go through that surface. It reminds me of, there's a book called The Journey Home. The gentleman's name is Radhanath Swami, and he talks about his journey, how he ended up in India in the Himalayan mountains, and he went on this huge trip. He eventually became a monk and is now a spiritual master, a Swami. And he talks about how he was actually called out in his spiritual journey because he was dabbling in all these spiritual processes, and he kept being offered like initiation through different processes. And he was like, no, I'm just going to dabble. I'm just going to explore. And eventually a guru called him out and said, you're not exploring. You just lack commitment. You're just not committing to something. And because you lack commitment, you've given yourself this story about I'm staying free in this process. When he's like, when you're actually avoiding committing to something and fully believing something and giving yourself and life to something. And he's like, that's where you're going to get the essence, is when you give your full being to something. And so he said, whether it's my process or the other guy's process, pick one and commit to it. Then you'll actually get the essence of what the teachings are all about. And I just as you were talking, that story came up of, being fully committed to what it is you're going to. So, and that way you'll actually get the real essence of it. And I see a lot of people are just lacking commitment, but they're giving themselves this story about, oh, well, I'm just free spirit, I'm just flowing with it. So I get that, but there's a commitment to this process that's needed and required.
And I was that person when I first started working with you. And I'll share with you guys a quick story, like 2 different ways that showed up. One, as Nick and I joined together and built the Akashic Academy, I was doing another show on Periscope, and I had another thing over here. And Nick he mentioned to me, and then he just gave me the time until I got to the point where I was ready to fully let go of everything else and dive in to the Academy and just show up in this space. And it was a process. I mean, it took a little bit of time. You planted the seed and you brought my awareness to it because you talk about, this like spiritual healers and people like me, and we show up and we have this. Truthfully, I didn't realize that what you showed me was an option on how to do things. It was just like a totally new experience for me. But when I did trust you in that, you guys can see what's going on here. Also, when I say see what's going on here, I'm in terms of the expansion that's happening at the Academy. Another area where you pulled me into focus is when I first showed up and started working with you, I had learning to read the Akashic Records course. I'm like, and then I'm going to create this one, I'm going to create this one, and then I'm going to do this. And you're like, no, sell the records, do records, teach records. And I'm like, no, I'm going to do this. And you're like, this, hello. And it was funny because once you reined me in on that, and you still had to rein me in again because I was like, pull me in the Academy and I'm building this and you're like, records, focus on the records. This is what you give to people. And I had to really let myself go deep with that until I was ready to expand and add anything else. And that I'm serious, guys, if you trust this guy and allow him to give you formulas for how you can show up and create in this space, your life can completely change.
Thank you. And you know what? It is really that I'm guilty of it too. Like, I think we all are. I think it's pretty normal and to acknowledge that we all go down this journey, and we can see where it shows up in all areas of our life, right? We, fully committed in our relationships, not just physically, but mentally and spiritually, like fully being there, fully being committed in our health journeys, fully committed into our lifestyle choices, fully committed to our beliefs. Some of us want to see this world transform, but we're still allowing the world to dictate who we are rather than we starting to dictate who this world is. And so that level of commitment, when Mahatma Gandhi was committed to, getting India to be free, he embodied it. And look what happened. When Martin Luther King committed to equality, look what's happened. When Nelson Mandela committed to the freedom of his people, look what happened. When, Jesus Christ, probably one of the greatest examples of commitment, literally died to show us the nature of who we are. So, when you talk about the beings and the souls who are able to create the greatest transformations on the planet, we're committed way beyond what the regular person is willing to commit. And therefore they will able to experience and create something way beyond what most people will do. But that's available for every single one of us. So what I'm encouraging you to do is commit fully, mind, body, spirit, resources. Commit fully to your overall passion and on what it is that you're here to do, and it will be. And that level of commitment you have to it it will then pay you back in that and in so much more. So I know we're coming close to our end of our time. So I'm going to give everybody an activation. It's a quick, I'm not even going to do an activation of the regular sense. I'm going to give you a challenge. All right. Okay. And the challenge is for you to take throughout this week. And the challenge itself will be the activation. So if you do the challenge, it will activate certain things in you. If you don't do it, it won't. So it's on your commitment to do it, okay? So here is your activation and challenge. Be your word in everything this week. If you say you're going to take out the garbage, take it out. If you say you're going to wash the dishes, wash the dishes. Whatever you commit to yourself to doing, do it fully. And what you're exercising and what you're activating is complete integrity, where your thoughts, your words, and your actions become one. And this will activate every chakra. This will activate your entire energy because you will be whole in this challenge. So this will be the greatest activation that you could give yourself. But for you to do it, you have to play full out and be committed. Emily, do you have any final words as we wrap up today's show?
Just that's awesome. I really, really love that. And I'm just kind of like sitting in my own expansion right now in this moment, because there's something that clicks. Like you talk about activations, and it's this kind of like, light language kind of word, but there's really truthfully something that clicks when you're able to fully commit. And this right here, what you just laid out, might well be the vocabulary, the pattern of what it is. I recognize something in myself was able to click and fully commit to this movement, how I'm showing up in every way. And I have to tell you, it's not hard to do. It's fun. I'm excited to do it. It requires like some lifting, some heavy lifting, but dude, once you get into alignment and you click into it, you guys, it's like getting into that speed of a bike. I literally needed to go to bed last night, but I wanted to finish a project that I was working on. And that's the joy of my life when you click into this. So do the challenge. Yeah, I'm gonna do it just for the purpose of getting a deeper experience with what I've already walked.
Awesome. Fantastic. So guys, check out the 3-day training that is coming up. If you're committed to having a big 2019, this could be the training for you. So check it out. The link is below. And check out later on, we've got Brad Johnson coming up. We've got Laura, the feng shui lady. So we've got shows for you happening every single day here on the Akashic page. So make sure you hit that like and love button, share this video out. And thank you for all of those who accepted your challenge. Let me know how it's going. Add me up as a friend if you haven't, or leave it on the page. Let us know how the challenge is going. And if you find yourself breaking the integrity, forgive, let go, and hop back on the challenge. You are a human, so be compassionate and patient with yourself. But at the same time, play so committed like you've never played before. And I promise you'll experience something that you've never experienced before. Thank you guys so much. Have a wonderful, wonderful week.